So it is important if you haven't joined Mug Club yet, because this next segment may be banned for being anti-science. Now, let me be really clear. I am not anti-science. I'm just Dr. Fauci. Doctor who hasn't seen a patient in almost as long as Joseph Biden has been in office. So let me ask you, what do you think of Dr. Fauci? And this, obviously, the call was making the rounds yesterday of Donald Trump saying that he doesn't really like, that he's an idiot, that if he'd have listened to him, more people would have died. And of course, everyone is attacking the messenger, Donald Trump. How could he say this? Well, listen, let's actually go through the positions that Dr. Fauci has held and see how that would have affected the outbreak of this pandemic without even getting into any of the ties with the World Health Organization or the Wuhan lab. That's a subject for an entirely different day, and I don't want to get banned for that right now. So let me know what you think in the comments below as to what you think about Dr. Fauci. But right now, it is time for us to go all in on Fauci the dumbass.
I hit strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me.
Let's go through the flips and the flops of Dr. Fauci. Yeah. So flip number one, okay, this one is pretty big. Fauci said that this was, I believe, February and early March. Was it February 29th and March 9th? You guys can fact check me on that, somewhere around those dates. Yeah. He said that going to malls, movie theaters, gyms were totally fine, and he even encouraged young people to go on cruises, March 9th.
So, Dr. Fauci, it's Saturday morning in America. People are waking up right now with real concerns about this. They want to go to malls and movies, maybe the gym as well. Should we be changing our habits, and if so, how?
No, right now, at this moment, there is no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis. I think if you're a healthy young person, that there is no reason, if you want to go on a cruise ship, to go on a cruise ship. Personally, I would never go on a cruise ship because I don't like cruises.
I don't give a shit. A party provides way more information. I personally don't like cruises. Okay, we just do your job.
Good for you.
Do your job. And then, of course, the flop is he said that the United States can't get back to normal until late 2021. Wow. The thing about Dr. Fauci is he doesn't split the difference. It's like it's not something. Either you can go on either you believe you can go on a Carnival cruise line, or we have to shut down the economy until Mad Max, and there's no in between. How about, hey, you know what? Go out, enjoy your life, wear your mask where appropriate. Let's quarantine and protect the elderly, protect the vulnerable, and then maybe don't go on a cruise. People are talking about the rise in cases, and they're not just talking about the rise in testing. Deaths have been going down for months.
Yeah.
They've been going down consistently for months. Now, they could spike up and then reach the level of a bad flu, but the point is right now, they've been going down consistently. Yeah. The fact that more people are testing positive, the fact that we have to go by tests, and not even serious cases and hospitalizations, but tests, because potentially the majority, if not a significant percentage of people, don't even know that they have the disease, should tell you that it's not the Spanish flu. In March, he also said, again, keep in mind, this is March.
Yeah.
This is March.
So when
people just try and act like, oh, Donald Trump was January, February, had taken serious actions. Right. In March, Dr. Fauci said, and here's the thing, he didn't just say that you shouldn't wear masks.
Yeah.
I want to show you this clip because he was very adamant about it. Yeah. He was even given opportunities to be like, ooh, want to scale that back so you can give yourself an out later? Right. No!
I'm going to double down.
I'm all in!
People should not be walking around with masks.
Oh.
You're sure of it, because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
Dr. Fauci, people are
when
watching
you're
this.
in the middle of an outbreak,
not a lot.
Wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet. But it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
Now he says that mask wearing speaks for itself, is the exact quote. We'll need to wear them into 2022. Now, if it seems confusing, this actually may provide some clarity as to how and why he was caught not wearing a mask at a baseball game. So now that makes sense. I don't need to block droplets. What, am I going to put a condom on my face?
Yes.
It might block a
droplet. And then he was asked later, do you regret telling people not to wear masks? Do you think that really affected the pandemic? He said, nah, I don't know. Hold on a second. Either masks are the most important thing we have to do. They can be more effective than the vaccine, according to some medical experts, or you killed many people. Because you said don't wear masks. There were people right there with them. There were people watching, including people here where we had Origin Maine. They were a friend of ours where they were retooling to create masks. There are scenarios where it's appropriate. We said there are scenarios where it's appropriate, and then there are scenarios where it's not appropriate. For example, using a made-at-home cotton mask without washing it and reusing it. That does nothing. It actually makes it worse. Very different from surgical masks and N95 respirators or washing your double-layered mask repeatedly in a hospital washing machine. Find me one study that shows that homemade cotton masks without being washed in hospital commercial washing machines, that it's more effective than not wearing a mask. Show me the science, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
It is remarkable that this guy is never held accountable at all. Just again, context matters because people can say, well, you change your position based on new information. That is true. I understand that. And that's why there is no the science. There's science. There's the scientific process. And new information can change your opinion. However, is there any new information after March 9th that should wildly change your opinion on wearing masks? Keep in mind, at that point in time when we were talking about PPE, everyone mocked Donald Trump because, again, this idea of using masks and fondling them was a real problem, and they needed a way to sanitize masks. And he said, we have some of the finest liquids where we can, and then sure enough, they came up with commercial sanitizing stations to reuse masks. So this science was available at that time, and it was already being repeated ad nauseum by Fauci. Nothing has changed. He says, well, now that we know that people can be spreaders who are asymptomatic, of course we knew that that was a possibility in March.
Yeah, exactly. And
we still don't know how contagious asymptomatic people are. We know that there's a possibility, or there's a possibility that the risk is low. Just like we knew there was a possibility that it could live on surfaces for a while, or the possibility would be low, depending on whether it was your Amazon cardboard package at your door or your cell phone. We didn't know, but there were always possibilities. That has not changed. Only Dr. Fauci's opinion based on political
Well, Bob Woodward's main critique of Donald Trump in the tapes that he released is that in March, this is the ringing a bell for me, March, Donald Trump knew how bad this was and didn't act appropriately. The chief guy had all of the information and said, don't wear a mask in what? March.
Right.
Are you serious?
Well, and when Donald Trump was making the case, he was saying, if I'd have listened to him, if I'd have listened to Dr. Fauci, we would have had many more people dead. People go, oh, that's totally unreasonable. Well, hold on a second. Let's look at what we were being told. Over 2 million people would die, right? At that point, Donald Trump was saying, hey, we need to find a way to re-sanitize masks. The medical experts were saying, that's ridiculous, using the finest liquids. Donald Trump said, we need to expedite the process of therapeutics, many of which have given us great promise. Dr. Fauci said, we can't do that. We have to make sure it's tied up in red tape because some of them could give you a tummy ache, right? This is at every single term where Donald Trump, do you think that if you go back then in March or February or January, God forbid, do you think if Donald Trump were listening to Dr. Fauci, do you think they would have put their foot on the gas pedal to make sure that everybody got the PPE that they needed, including masks? Because Dr. Fauci was saying it's not going to do a whole lot. Here's another flip with Dr. Fauci. Good news. He said in May, moving up the timeline here, because I think this is relevant. May, he said that nursing homes need, quote, pristine, unassailable infection control. Where he praised New York, saying that they fought COVID correctly, despite the fact that New York is one of the, it is the poster child. It's like, it's the poster child like Damien from The Omen was the poster child of sending infected patients into nursing homes, and they have one of the worst death rates in the country. Here we go. Here's a flop.
But we've got to do the things that are very clear that we need to do to turn this around. Remembering we can do it. We know that when you do it properly, you bring down those cases. We've done it. We've done it in New York. New York got hit worse than any place in the world, and they did it correctly.
Somewhere behind him, just 8 rockets collapsed. Now, your opinion can change based on not the science, meaning Dr. Fauci, as you kneel at the altar of Geppetto. I'm saying science, meaning the scientific process. Now that we know it is actually significantly less lethal to young people than the normal flu, and we don't shut down schools over the normal flu, and that they are often not carriers, we can change our opinions and say, okay, maybe time to reopen schools for those who are statistically not at risk. Again, show me the study. Show me the controlled study or a trial, anything that's peer-reviewed. That's what they love to talk about. Peer-reviewed, published, that shows that COVID-19 is significantly more lethal or even as lethal as a standard flu to young'uns. Show it to me. Comment below. I will stand correct. This is the one where he said before, and he's tried to turn around on this. He started doing about face, a total 180, where he said, no, there's really no scenario in which you can imagine an administration doing more than they are right now. Don't take my word for it.
Throughout the day and into the night, when I say night, I'm talking 12, 1, 2 in the morning. I'm not the only one. There's a whole group of us that are doing that. It's every single day. So I can't imagine that under any circumstances that anybody could be doing more.
So if someone says,
I am awash with context. I'm drunk on context because now he says that the Trump campaign, when they used that clip, took him out of context and misquoted him. And again, I think that we have enough context when you take it overwhelming. Again, the totality of it, it's overwhelming. And now you have the most recent offense in which he's suggesting that Americans cancel Thanksgiving.
What is your advice about Thanksgiving?
I think people should be very careful and prudent. But when you're talking about relatives that are getting on a plane, being exposed in an airport, being exposed in a plane, then walk in the door and say, Happy Thanksgiving, that you have to be careful about.
There was a recent study, again, science, this just came out, I believe it was American Airlines or Delta, that if you stay seated and wear your mask, there is statistically a 0% chance of being infected. Now, I don't believe it.
Air circulated.
But this is,
replaced.
but I don't necessarily believe it's a 0% chance. But that study just came out. So he just described an activity that the airlines are trying to say is safe, that the World Health Organization is saying, hey, listen, we're at a point where we need to reopen. And then for some reason, he also decides to just throw family under the bus.
Yeah, he did.
Where they show up at your door, perhaps they're being affectionate, perhaps your father actually did tell you he loved you and displayed physical affection, the positive male role model that some of you were fortunate enough to have, and I hope you burn in hell. Don't take that out of context.
watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.